We're celebrating 10 years of racing here in Tiszaujvaros, Hungary, where round 11 of the 2006 ITUTV Triathlon World Cup men's event is about to get underway. And today's race is guaranteed to be heated, so stay right where you are. Germany always fields a strong team in Hungary, but this year they've got even more to hope for with Jan Frodeno's recent rise in the rankings and 2 podium finishes already this season.
This is one of the most amazing races on the circuit, you know. The whole village seems to get involved. There's a great spirit out here, people are really friendly. There's always a great surrounding here. It's more like coming home to friends rather than really coming to a full-on competition, which is great 3 weeks out from Worlds, just a bit of a difference for the mind. Well, I'll be honest with you, I've just come down from altitude. We had some really hard training and preparing for Worlds. You know, Worlds is the goal. I'll be glad to see if it goes well tomorrow, but it could turn either way. You know how it is when you take out rest a couple of days only before the race. But still, I'm looking confident. You know, coming down from altitude, it's the first time as well that we've tried altitude, and I'm looking forward to the race.
Henrik de Villiers is another up-and-coming talent to watch, and with one of the stronger swims in the field, he hopes today's race could mark his first trip to the podium.
I think the race is going to be decided, not finally, but it might unfold a bit in the swimming, as I heard the current in the river has a big influence in this race. So I think if it gets a couple of guys away on the bike, it might change the race from there. I'm definitely hoping to get a podium place for this race. It'll be my first World Cup podium, so it's definitely what I'm aiming for.
Despite the string of young talent waiting in the wings, the outright favourite in this race is Brad Caulfield. He has 3 victories this season and hopes to add this title after a near miss last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got away with about a lap to go, Dimitri and myself, and we just went for it, and Dimitri went first in the sprint finish, and I come up beside him when we sort of arrived on the carpet, and I sort of stumbled a little bit going up the steep ramp, and I think Dimitri did as well, and I sort of got to the top, and all I could do was dive, and I dived, but unfortunately, maybe my chest wasn't in front, but yeah, I don't know. Can't really complain about the season so far, but I'd love to keep it going now, and May going to World Champs has been, I guess, one of the favourite guys, but that's okay. I don't mind.
Now, once again, let's take a quick look at the course map for today's race. The men will start off with a challenging 2-lap river swim where they'll tackle a strong current after a pontoon dive start. Following that, they'll cycle 10 kilometers straight into town before embarking on a technical 6-lap inner-city bike course that will lead them into the final stage, a 4-lap, 10-kilometer run through the heart of Tiszaujvaros.
Well, we certainly have the 2 major players from last year's men's race from Tiszaujvaros, and that is Brad Caulfield and Dimitri Gag, both here. Caulfield with 8 victories out of 10 races he's been in this year, and Dimitri Gag, you can never count that man out. They're about 7 kilometers away where the swim starts, and then they have to ride themselves back into town where we saw the big crowd for the women's race. So another crowd back out at the swim start, and you can see a huge field of men who have made their way here to Tiszaujvaros and their final preparations, and it'll be Brad Caulfield, all eyes on him for sure. Frodeno from Germany, just down from high altitude. Rito Hugh, the silver medalist from the World Championships last year, and Frederick Belabé, a man who's been on fire.
Thank you, Max.
About a 2-meter jump off the pontoon down into the water, and again, it is getting that current right that really makes a big difference here. A number of world-class swimmers in this field, including the likes of Frodeno, who has come from a surf life-saving background, Henrik de Villiers from South Africa as well, and that does look like Frodeno into that bunch. The French with Stéphane Poulat and Frederick Belabé, 2 outstanding swimmers who we would anticipate being up into that lead group as well. Kasaba Katar from Hungary, one of the men who the locals will certainly be cheering for, and he is always in the top 3 or 4 in this race, out of the water, often trying to make a breakaway on the bike. It's Ferdano from Germany just coming around the corner there. The French well established with two of their athletes in the lead bunch. And it's a strong current in your face as they just make that hard right-hand turn. They've now had a very fast current behind them, and they have to go right back into it. And now they try to get as close to shore as they can to get away from the current that was slowing them down, going now back towards the pontoon. It is Poulat, Frederic Belabé, Ferdano into that group. Henrik de Villiers just going through there. So our major players all within about 3 to 4 seconds. Marco Elbert, the man who lost a good portion of the 2006 season, off with some early injuries, back racing well. Well, it's Stefan Poulat, second at the World Cup race here in Tiszaujvaros a few years ago. He's had a 6th place finish in Mazatlan this year, a multiple man on a tough course. He's definitely the guy to look out for, a brilliant swim biker. And the swim preem leader, I think, for today looks like Poulat might be first out of the water. It is. His teammate Belabé just a few seconds back as they go back into the water. Ferdano just coming out. I can see de Villiers in the green outfit from the Republic of South Africa just going through. And now getting that very fast water in that second loop. The first of the loops a little bit larger. Our group of athletes just coming through and back onto there. Marco Albert just coming through. Martin Carnavac and Peter Crows, men who've done here very well in the past. Paulo Miyashiro from Brazil. Overcast still here in Tiszaujvaros, a very dark water, so the athletes certainly cannot see the feet of the athletes ahead of them. It is a river, and often the silt of the river coming down makes it very dark, so the athletes have to really put their heads up, and they come around these closer swim buoys the second time, but they do get right back towards the shore, and the athletes will have practiced all week to see how close to shore they can get without having to worry about any debris, but to get the least moving water so that they have fast water going down and slow resistance in their face coming back. As they come out of the water, there likely will be a small break of about 5 to 7 athletes who will be trying to break away here. And it does look like first out of the water will be Ferdano from Germany. He's gone through 16:48. Stefan Poulat and Belabé, the French athletes just out of the water a few seconds back. Here comes de Villiers just coming out. Andrei Glashenko as well. Kutar from Kasabi, from Hungary just coming through there. In the top of the corner you can see Ferdano just into the transition zone. Peter Crows, Albert, Miyashiro now all at the bottom of the screen as they come out of the water, getting ready to make that 100-meter run up the stairs into the transition zone and out onto this very flat bike course. Critically important that you make that break very quickly, as I can see Henrik de Villiers, the man who raced so well in the London Triathlon just a few weeks ago, on an all-time confidence high. There's Brad Caulfield. He's had a sizable gap to make up. As he comes out of the water, he'll be in either the second or third chase pack.
A brilliant swim by Jan Frodeno had him out of the water in the lead ahead of French teammates Poulat and Belot, but de Villiers and hometown boy Csaba Couture were also in close contention.
A flat section back towards town, and there's de Villiers in the green right there. Our French athletes just coming into the screen. Kasabi Qatar from Hungary into that lead group, and he is a tremendously talented athlete. And as we take a look at our group chasing up, they will have to make as much time as they can through these early stages, because a gap here, and we have seen the likes of the great Craig Walton making a breakaway and a victory on this course by getting away. Well, a group of 5 men have now made a break here in Tiszaujvaros. Whether or not they're able to stay away, we saw on the women's side a 1:10 gap eventually be evaporated. Well, there comes a chase group only 15 seconds back around the corner. And as we start to take a look, Ferdano just down from high altitude twice this year. He's been a bronze medalist, a former 23 and under world silver medalist at the championships. So he is a talented athlete and one of Germany's incredible stock of men that we have to look out for. Well, our 5 men continuing to lead. The chase group of athletes are not far behind now. Less than 20 seconds back to that chase group. And they're coming now for the bike preem at the end of lap number 2, and it's Stefan Poulat from France. And how many times have we seen this incredible athlete do this, winning another bike preem?
On the bike, I just tried to go as hard as I could. I was hoping we'd get away, the 5 of us, because I knew I was feeling good and hoping to make a break then. Unfortunately, it was just 4 of us working in the bunch. It's kind of difficult when the rest is pushing, but we ended up going really good.
Kasaba Qatar, one of the men in that lead group, along with Matt Hopper from Australia. And as they come through, the crowd will be giving them some energy, but they will only have to wait a few seconds until the chase. A group of 10 come through, and they are just about to catch on. Peter Crow's in that chase group, and what a talented man from Belgium he is. We saw him along with his teammate Axel Ziebrich make a breakaway at the World Cup race in Cornerbrook just a few weeks ago. Our lead group of 5 are just about to be overtaken, and we are going to have a sizable large pack now. The second chase group down by about another 35 seconds. And as the pavement remains dry here on the men's side, the overcast conditions just perfect for very hard racing. Well, somebody's looking antsy in that pack, and we have seen this in the past where 1 or 2 athletes are not happy to sit back, realizing that some faster runners are in the group, and I think we might have our first of our mini breaks here today in Tiszaujvaros, as it looks like Zvonko Zubrik from Croatia trying to make a small breakaway. In fact, we do have one small little gap of about 8 seconds back. Matt Hopper, I think, might be into that group as well, as Zvonko looking over his shoulder, wondering if anyone else is about to join him in that lead group. The Croatian athlete has shown some great bikes over the last couple of years, and right now a small group of 3 men look to be breaking off the front of this pack. Remember, Brad Caulfield has had some of the fastest runs in the sport, and he's in that chase group right now. So if you want to have a legitimate chance of stealing a medal here and maybe the top of the podium, you're going to need yourself a good minute lead on Brad Caulfield going out onto the run course. A small breakdown. It looks like we've got about 6 or 7 athletes down. I think one of those athletes might include Jared Schumacher, last year's fastest runner here and the World 23 and under champion. But we definitely have a small break now off the front here at the 2006 Tiszaujvaros race. Our Matt Hopper into that group right now, pushing the pace. I think the Hungarian might be into there as well, and that's Kasaba Qatar and Kubrick from Croatia. So we have 3 athletes off the front, 1 Australian, 1 Hungarian, and 1 athlete from Hungary breaking away right now, and they have about 30 seconds back to this main chase group. So Brad Caulfield still sitting in a very solid position because he's got a 10K time likely a minute and a half faster than the 3 men up in the lead, but some of these other athletes back here are going to have to start to make their move if they want to have a legitimate chance to get themselves a podium. It's Hopper from Australia just in the picture right there, working very efficiently. Doesn't get many starts in World Cup races because of the depth of the Australian team, but he has shown some tremendous talent when he does. Kasaba Qatar just into the group right there, and he is a talented athlete as well. And now back to our chase group. As you can see, it looks to be about 45 or 50 men deep here in Hungary, so definitely going to come down to a foot race, including the likes of Frodeno, Henrik de Villiers, Brad Caulfield. Remember, Dimitri Gag is back into that chase group as well. Well, the crowd is giving their energy to Kasaba Qatar, who will win the last of the preems on the men's side here. And as we're into the bell lap, our chase group of athletes are about 40 seconds down, and they are going to have to be concerned because there's a couple of athletes motivated up in front. Less than 3 kilometers to go now. Zvonko Zubrik from Croatia, Kasaba Qatar from Hungary, and Matt Hopper in that lead group. And look at the size of this chase pack. This is going to be absolutely phenomenally fast running as they make their last stages back towards the finishing line. When they come off, it'll be a 4-lap, 10-kilometer run, and here they come. Our trio from Croatia, from Hungary, and from Australia, racking the bikes, running down to pick up the shoes, and then they'll start in front of this incredibly energetic crowd, their 4-lap, 10-kilometer run. Qatar right there, the popular man. You can believe that the spectators will be giving him all the energy they can as the local town favorite will be pushing through. Hopper first out onto the start of his 10-kilometer run, and Matt Hopper, again, a very talented, not well-known Australian, but the Australian arsenal so deep that when any one of their athletes get a World Cup start, you have to believe they're going to be a significant factor. Well, the leaders heading out on to the start of this very fast run course And last year we saw maybe the most incredible men's finish ever with Brad Caulfield and Dimitri Gag in that sprint finish. Well, at the bottom of the screen, here they come. 48 men deep, including the two guys that entertained us with that sprint finish last year, Caulfield and Gag, coming off the bike right now. Qatar leading here in Hungary at the top of the screen. At the bottom, Ferdano just putting on the shoes. Peter Kroes in that white outfit from Belgium getting ready to head out onto the course right now. And it is going to be very, very fast running. We have seen it here so many times in the past.
After the bike, a breakaway group including two virtual no-names and one Hungarian hero were out in the run with a 45-second lead, but the large chase pack included all of the top runners and pre-race favorites.
Hopper from Australia in the blue. Qatar from Hungary in the black. And they will only have to look over their shoulder for a few seconds till you start to see the pack of athletes coming from behind. There's Kubrick from Croatia, certainly not the running capacity of the men coming up from behind. And look at that group of four. Ferdano in the lead of that chase group. Brad Caulfield looking incredibly relaxed. Rito Hugh in the red. And just behind him, De Villiers, who had that brilliant victory in London just a few weeks ago. Our current leaders, but I don't think they're going to stay in this position for long, include Hopper from Australia and Couture from Hungary, and those two men will try to enjoy this lead as long as they can, because look at the pace that Ferdano is setting. And Brad Caulfield did the same thing at the World Cup race in Salford. He let another man lead the pace for the first 5K, and that was Peter Robertson taking it out. Another Australian pushing hard right now, and that is Hopper. And our third place man in the blue from Croatia just about to be passed now by our chase group of four, and that is Ferdano pushing through. Ferdano from Germany now, just down from high altitude a few days ago. Not sure of his fatigue state. Well, he looks absolutely fantastic right now. A very, very supportive town, and there is the man that we've been looking for, the smaller of the athletes. That is Dimitri Gag, just catching on to the back of this group of four. It's Ferdano in the lead, Brad Caulfield, and sitting just behind there, De Villiers and Dimitri Gag, who lives and trains right here in Hungary. Our leaders coming through, an Australian and a Hungarian, and they are about to be passed, I think, momentarily, as Ferdano looks in phenomenal shape. He actually lived and grew up in South Africa, but has moved to Germany and racing for that nation for the last few years, and is a tremendous talent. The man in the green, another South African, De Villiers, who has shown some great performances this year as we head towards the World Championships. Brad Hopper and Couture from Hungary are just about to be taken over as our chase group of four men, who really are the class runners of this field, have really differentiated themselves from the main pack that were off the bike together. And we are now really down to a four-man run as the overall lead is just about to be taken over now as Ferdano from Germany, Brad Caulfield, and look just how relaxed he is. This guy really has to be the threat going into the World Championships. He's had 8 victories in 10 races, including the Commonwealth Games gold. And we now have a new race leader here in Hungary as Ferdano takes over the lead. Caulfield just sitting on his shoulder. And the crowd, as they have really been around this entire 2.5-kilometer loop, continue to support all the athletes. A lead group of 4 now starting to pull away as Couture trying to hold on with 5 kilometers still to go. And we could be in for another one of those finishes, because we have Dimitri Gag and Brad Caulfield together with 5 kilometers to go. They'll be thinking about that incredible sprint finish from last year. Caulfield on the right, look how incredibly relaxed he looks coming through. Our chase group of athletes, including Rito Hugh back in 6th, 7th, and 8th spot, and now Brad Caulfield. An incredible season this man has had. 3 victories this year. The Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He's been a world champion in the 23 and under category last year. 2nd in that incredibly tight sprint finish with Dimitri Gag here, and you have to believe he has been on fire all season long. Well, De Villiers looks like he's being dropped from this pack. So right now, De Villiers, who said he'd love to get his first ever World Cup podium, is sitting in 4th spot, and he is really getting dropped by the pack. He's sizably up on 5th place, and that is a tough position to be in with about 3.5 kilometers to go. It is a 2-man break now as Ferdano from Germany, Caulfield from Australia have pulled away from Dimitri Gag, and they are pushing at an incredible pace. De Villiers sitting back in fourth place, and as they come through with one more lap to go, the bell lap is Ferdano from Germany and Brad Caulfield. Dimitri Gag, who lives and trains here in Hungary, even though he's from Kazakhstan, is sitting in third place, and he will have a lot of friends cheering him on over this last 2.5 kilometers. It's down now to just over a mile to go, and what an incredible two-man break we've got. Ferdano using that long stride, Brad Caulfield incredibly efficient, and now third and fourth place. Look at this incredible move. De Villiers has come back on Dimitri Gag. We've got two different groups that are likely to put in a big sprint. Well, Brad Caulfield will have to be thinking back of how close he was a year ago when he lost this race, and there he goes. Brad Caulfield making the move now as he's less than 400 meters from the finishing line. Look at that move coming back now. Ferdano is digging in deep, and he seems to have another gear. Brad Caulfield digs in one more time. 75 meters to the finishing line, and Ferdano looks like he has given it up. Brad Caulfield will claim victory here at the 2006 BG World Cup Triathlon in Tiszaujvaros, Hungary. An incredible 1:44:07, 30 minutes and 13 seconds for the victory. And here they come for the third place finish. There he goes, Dimitri Gag, that incredible sprint. We saw him do it here last year at the 99 World Championships as well. But here he comes, an incredible move, and De Villiers is not giving it up. But it will be Dimitri Gag taking third. An incredible fourth place finish for Henrik De Villiers, and an amazing run for Ferdano, who will claim second. Brad Caulfield, Ferdano second, Dimitri Gag third, and Henrik De Villiers will be your fourth place finisher here in an incredible 10th anniversary in Hungary.
To be honest, the last lap I could have made a move and went for it early, but I just wanted to leave it to a sprint finish to see how my sprinting's going. But the whole last K I was just thinking about last year, to be honest. Getting beaten like that last year, really, I guess you don't forget that stuff. And I just waited to the right moment and then just come through him. And look, I was very careful on the ramp this time. I didn't want to slip, so I was just looking very carefully. But I gave that sprint everything, and just glad I come over the top.
I was really happy that we made a gap, and I was able to stay with Brad. And I just kept picturing myself running across the finish line, just grabbing the BG Triathlon sign, tearing it up. And that's what kept me going. I knew he was going to come. When he came up, I started to go with him. I went past him. Then he came again with a vengeance, I tell you. And I was just pretty exhausted then. But I'm pretty happy about it, Great confidence booster, especially on the run.
It's my city. I live here. I'm 10 times take put here, and 5 times here in podium. And today also I'm very happy. Third place, not so bad, because in this year not so much training, not so much races. World Cup, just second World Cup this year. I'm very happy.
So Brad Caulfield captures his fourth victory of the season in another sprint finish with Jan Frodeno, who earns the first silver medal of his career. While another exciting sprint finish between rookie and veteran settled the final spot on the podium, a full 20 seconds ahead of the next best athlete. The cream of the crop in the women's event held earlier in the day included former world champion Leanne de Cave from Great Britain, who captured the bronze medal in front of an enthusiastic Hungarian crowd. Just ahead of Cave, veteran Mariana Ohata from Brazil. Ohata's silver medal was her second in a row after also taking second in Salford just a few weeks earlier. But the big story today was Joelle Franzen from Germany, who ran her way to the gold medal and her first World Cup victory after 7 years of racing on tour. Taking a look at the women's rankings after round 11, Vanessa Fernandez still hangs on to the top spot, but Franzman's victory here has catapulted her up to second overall. Mariana Ohata's second silver medal in a row has moved the Brazilian star up to 11th in the world. On the men's side, Dimitri Gag ran himself onto the podium in Hungary for the 5th time in his career, making the home crowd very happy as the Kazakh veteran lives and trains right here in Tiszaujvaros. Ahead of him, newcomer Jan Frodeno from Germany captured his first silver medal in a dramatic sprint finish with race favorite Brad Caulfield. But despite his strong effort on the run, it wasn't quite enough to overtake the top athlete in today's field, Caulfield from Australia, whose brilliant sprint finish was enough to earn him his 4th victory of the season, a great setup to the next event on tour, the World Championships in Switzerland. Caulfield's victory moves him up to the top spot in the world rankings, while Frodeno's star continues to rise as he moves up to 6th spot. But a lot could change in the coming weeks as we have many events yet to come. And that wraps things up for another season here in Hungary, where the champagne is flowing and the fans are dancing in the streets. Up next, we stop in the Olympic city of Lausanne, Switzerland for the biggest event of the season, the World Championships. Be sure to join us then.